Hey everyone, happy Monday. Today I'm going to be doing a leaf stamp. I've been playing around with it. There's one, there's a few of the other imprints, and I have been playing around with it for a few days. These are leaves off of my sugar maple tree, and I have been thinking I have a very hard time doing maple leaf shapes. And so I had tried on a few of these to do where I just dipped it in the paint. I'm not unhappy with, how it's turning out, but it was not really doing what I wanted it to with the watercolor. So I thought, I'm going to take my ink pad that I really like, my archival ink, and I've done 3 or 4 off of this same leaf off of my sugar maple tree. And I'm just taking the ink and going, really paying attention to the ends because that's the hardest part for me, is the outline of a maple leaf. So let's see if I got that all. And these leaves have held up pretty well. It doesn't seem to be completely obliterating the veins that are in it. Now, I would say if it were closer to fall and these were drier, it might not work out as well. So let's see, we're gonna put this right here, and then I put this on top of it, except it's not clean. This, and I'm just gonna kind of burnish it. And you can see I had some ink on the top of this. Let me make sure I'm recording. Yes, I am. I've been bumped out a couple times by phone calls today. So I'm trying not to move it around, and I'm just going in a circular motion. Hopefully this turns out. It's been fun experimenting. And I think I'm either going to obliterate it by doing too much. Okay, let's see. Not bad. That got a lot of the outline that I have a hard time with. Now I have a bigger size 8 Princeton Heritage brush, and then a Scepter Gold 2 Winsor Newton. I don't know, it was on sale somewhere, but it's a little more pointy. So what I do at this point is, this ink is great. It is pretty smudge proof when it's dry, and it dries really quickly. I mean, you might get a little smudge, but that's why I used the red, because I'm doing a red, maple leaf has red in it. So what I do now is I kind of look at this. First, I wet the middle. I should use my bigger brush. Switch to your bigger brush. Get some light. I want it really wet. I think I'm going to wet it with water first and come in just where the shape of the leaf is. And then I'm going to do kind of a connect the dots out here to do the perimeter of this. And so I'm kind of carefully going around close to the edge in a very light wash, because if you do it in a dark wash, I could end up with these real strong dry lines. I'm trying to work, you have to work a little quickly when doing this, but it's not, not terrible. This got a really good, that got a great imprint of this line down to here. So I kind of going in with this and doing, filling in with some water, and then trying to get, I want to keep it pretty damp. And let's play with these edges so we don't end up, go back and get this nice big point here. Now, last time I did this, I used this smaller brush for the pointy edges. Oh, and I don't want that to be like that. Let's get this coming down like this. There we go. And this is coming down to here. I'm using this, it has a little bit more of a point on it to get these real pointy. Here we are here, and this comes around like this and goes up. Almost lost that little point there. Little point there, round this. And then come around your perimeter again with your nice pointy brush. And now at this point, you can come in with a little bit more color. And then I am keeping it wet and putting in my first layer of leaf color, which is leaning more, I'm going in not with a red, but with this permanent transparent gold deep by Winsor and Newton, which I laid out today. I shouldn't, gotta keep painting here. This is, I mean, it's not super time sensitive, but if you wait too long in between putting in your color, you're gonna end up with some blooms going back in. I'm still learning all this. Watercolor is a very kind of rushed medium, but not. Some people look like this one guy, I can't remember what his name is, that I follow. He's so relaxed, but he works so quickly. And he says you have to kind of work quickly on something like this. You want to get your, I want to get my color in here. Even here you can see. So I want to come in with some of this gold. So I'm happy with that outline. That is a good representation. And I lose my little ends here. I like to come in and put these little pointy ends, get those pointy ends in there. And then come on in with your color. And it doesn't have to be around the perimeter, and then, you know, I kind of plunk it in. I'm trying to get it laid in all over the leaf. And when you know, see fall leaves, there are blotchy little color patches. So I'm just gonna kind of drop this in here. There we go. And that's, see, I lose my little, I don't know why they do that, my little pointy edges, or maybe I just missed that one when I was playing around. Okay, so it's still pretty wet, and I've got my first little bit of gold laid in. Now I'm gonna come in with, I made an orange with a little bit of this cad red and the permanent gold deep. It's a real pretty orange, leaning a little more towards red. And I come in first at these little, they're like the crook of your arm, the little crook of the leaf here, to get some concentrated color in there. And then also along the bottom, there we go. And then go a little bit more towards the red, and I like to get into the little pointy leaves here. And I like to go out to the tip with the red and top here. See how nice, and that's still nice and wet, and the color is moving really nicely. So get more color and less water, not quite as watery as your first pass, but more pigment to run into these little spots. There we go. And I'm even gonna come up, I like to come up the middle Boy, let me see if I can pull that out of there. I had the that red going in, well, I would say like it's nature, but it was going in absolutely the wrong direction that way. It should come down this way. So I also come back in with some of these veins because it's still wet enough where they'll bleed out in a beautiful way. The color will move around there. All right, let's add a little more. Now I'm going to come in with the bright red in the little crook of the leaf here. Let's see. And then I'm gonna, once I get this color in, I'm gonna pull it out a little bit with a damp brush. But I'm liking what's going on with it right now. So yeah, I did do the whole perimeter. I'm gonna pull this down in the tips so that the tips have a good amount of red in there. And again, I like to come in a little darker at the bottom, maybe even put in a nice little stem here. Now, we've got a lot of red. I dipped my brush in water, dried it off, not quite enough. That's gonna put in a little too much water there, which, I mean, is not the end of the world, but let me add some of this transparent red oxide while I'm doing that. That may turn into a bloom, it may not. I'm gonna go in with a little transparent oxide here, and then again in where these little crooks are, these little turns in the leaf. There we go. Now, I'm gonna wet and dry my brush a little and just kind of tease out a little bit of this red. I mean, I do like the concentrated areas of it. Let's see. But I'd like to kind of help it move a little bit more. All right, and now I am gonna come in. My yellow that I've been working with is I've got it right out of the tube here. So it's very, very vibrant. I want to do a few little bright yellow spots here with some water. Throw some, because it does dry lighter watercolor, so we're gonna kind of brighten up this gold where we're losing some of the color, and even kind of mix it in with this red. It'll give you a really beautiful orangey color. And I even got some pure, more of an orange to come in here with. I think I need to brighten it up a little bit. It's very, I think I got, let's see. Let's do a little mixture here. I feel like I got a little white that was in my palette that shouldn't have been there. Okay, is that too yellow? Let's see. No, I like that. That is a mapley color. We're gonna come in, bring in a little more of the red here. And this is my Dick Blick hot press paper. It's pretty decent as far as papers go. I also love Arches or Arch or however everybody says it. But the Dick Blick is a nice practice paper for me. Let's drop in a little more and do some bright red here. And then, and it's kind of watery, I'm gonna pull it in again And even kind of, I like do it a little more pronounced here at the bottom where the veins are bigger, but that's also going to help pull some of this color, help it move a little bit. And here are, you can still see the ink lines from my archival arranger. That's going to help. And I am going to go over each of these with, I hate it when I do that. There we go. Okay, and there. I'm liking that. Let me see about kind of pulling some of this red into this. I don't want to drop, maybe I'll drop some more in right here where it's looking a little light. And again, on these tips, a little bit more on this tip. There we go. And let's see about just dropping in some little spots of red. You know, because it does, you're going to have some little mottled areas. So you're going to kind of dry brush with some of the color that you pull up. You can kind of spread it around a little bit. Now I'm losing my yellow here. Do I want to put a little more? Let's see about plunking in a little more yellow. That will turn orange with this red that's still looking very red. And I also like to come over with, I've got this transparent yellow. That's a nice, let's see, maybe plunk in some transparent yellow with the bright yellow. And let's see about moving some of this red in. There we go. Leaves, you can like do it and forget it, but I like futzing around a little bit. I'm going to add a little more of this transparent red into these spots. Kind of drop it in here in the little crooky parts, and then even drop in some of the darker on the bottom here. There we go. Now this one's not moving. I'd like it to move a little bit instead of just stopping there. I might even just kind of model it out. There we go. And when this dries, I'll come in again with this dark, let's see, I'll just throw in a little bit darker of the vein. And so here is my summer. Here, let's kind of bring some of this up here too. I like little bits of bright yellow, but not too much, a little bit more. I want to veer more towards the red on this. So I'm going to leave that because I'm going to play around with it way too much, but I'm going to be doing some wreaths with these fall colors, and then my new, well, they're not new, but I've got a set on order of these metallic paints. Right now I'm not going to go over this. I'm going to let this dry, but they're drying really nicely. Here's one. I like the color mixtures. Here's some of my stampings. And then these are the ones that, I don't know, I like them. I think they have the kind of a realistic perimeter. And when I try to do it without this, they get bigger and bigger. Like when you're trying to make a circle look like a circle and it gets bigger on one side, bigger on another. With maple leaves, I have a heck of a hard time doing that. So this kind of keeps me at the size that they should be. And it was a lot of fun, and you can get a lot of stamps out of each leaf. So later on in the week, I think I'm going to try to do a wreath with this. So I hope you'll join me. And thanks for joining me with this video. Let's see, get a little closer. There you go. There's my first little maple leaf from my sugar maple. Have a great day, and I'll see you later in the week.